Let's talk about the present day of audit. Businesses are more dynamic and agile these days, meaning you have larger teams with a very large set of knowledge and experience that are able to adapt to clients' needs rapidly. Everyone has adopted a risk-based audit approach to align with the overall organizational risk. Regulatory changes are increasing in terms of enforcement. Talents that can be curved and navigated through competitive advantages using various different platforms. You provide additional value to your client engagements by identifying potential waste or abuse or potential fraud. It's very hard to keep up with the speed of growth and change of the use of technology. I remember just a couple of years ago, we were working with 100 meg hard drives, 2 meg RAM systems, and now you could get a laptop that's almost a tablet with a terabyte of hard drive, 8 gigs of memory, i7 quad-core processors. So technology is rapidly changing. There are new emerging risks such as cyber threat, privacy issues, social media engagements, and reputational impact, and dealing with what we now branded as a term in this century called big data, and how does one deal with big data. So you no longer could limit yourself within the Excel environment. When you're going to a Fortune 500 and you're advising them, can I please have your accounts payable data dump from SAP so we can analyze that. They'll give you 500 million records. If you're looking, say we use Walmart as a retailer as an example, how does one parse that in an Excel format? That's why we've created technologies such as case-run analytics, specifically IDEA, to deal with a large set of data imports to look for anomalies, outliers, and look for compliance within company procedures. And we'll talk a little bit more about that during a live demonstration of the platform. Key insights, universal view of critical business risk, where there are a concentration of risk and control failures is easily identified using these type of tools. What is being done by business to remediate the issue? We allow, through various different means, we allow you to look at that. Ability to isolate key processes, location, people within a fraction of seconds, enabled by the use of data analytics. Now, when we take a look at the audit methodology for CPA audit, CA audit methodology, you have the planning phase. So you interview the client, you identify which area of the business you want to dig deeper down, you get their information. That phase is entirely up to each audit firm on how they approach that. Where we come into play in terms of case or analytics is during the verification and reporting phase. Once you've identified the business process that you wish to analyze, we're able to get the data out from the systems onto a platform, a holistic view platform that gives you a complete overview of everything and allows you to test 100% of all transactions, and within a fraction of a second you're able to quickly identify duplicates, gaps, potential anomalies through the use of Benford's law. You could do statistical modeling through the use of correlation, time, and trend series. You could apply your audit methodology in terms of sampling, whether it's a monitor unit sampling approach or you're doing a random sample, you have that approach as well. And Caseware has created a financial app package through what we call Smart Analytics that allows you to import data, map it to the data, and let IDEA do all the analysis and generate the audit report in a Word format. So all you have to do is now copy that, adopt it to your logo and your firm's marketing information, and then add that to your audit report back to your client. And we'll demonstrate that during our live presentation. Now, when we take a look at the examination phase, this is where we gather and we analyze the information through the whole complete audit process and debrief the entity to verify the facts in the audit are relative to what we're going to show. We could show you, an example of that is the accounts receivable testing, matching receivable listing versus cash receipts. To allow you to help you through this process, we actually created, and this is if you're already part of the Caseware group of families, you get access to this content for free. If you're part of if you're using the analytics platform. If not, this is relatively new to you. You get access to this document with your initial acquisition of Caseware platform. But what it pretty much tells you here is actually introduces you on how to get data out from various different systems. So we actually talk about, what are the interfaces, what type of questions you need to ask your client to be able to achieve the output of your data. And then we advise you on how to import them in, how to reconcile them, validate that it's been imported, and the different ways of importing data into our platform. We'll talk a little bit more about that during our presentation, but we also give you very powerful information on how we could import data from commonly used accounting packages. In this case, we have Simply Accounting that we used, QuickBooks, to show you how we can effectively take data out for even your smaller clients, small to mid-range clients, to get the information out from QuickBooks into our analytics platform for further analysis. So you gain access to this through, if you're already a client of Caseware Analytics. If not, with your initial purchase, you gain that insight as well. Now, let's talk about the consequences of not trying to use these type of widely ranged technology in terms of data analytics. So if we take a look at the various different, just going to move the screen forward, here we go. If we take a look at where typically fraud occurs, now if you're taking notes, one document that we highly recommend reading, it hasn't been updated for 2013 as yet, it should be coming out shortly, is the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners 2012 Report to the Nation on Occupational Fraud and Abuse. It has great information in regards to emerging trends in various different industries and where we see the lack of controls within these verticals for specific areas of the business where we're trending and we're seeing emerging fraud. So when we look at where do these frauds occur, it's typically where they lack internal controls, where people are able to override existing controls, lack of management overview, lack of tone at the top to have a whistleblower program so we could bring forth and bring attention to these outliers and anomalies. Caseware Analytics allows you to actually test for some of these aspects in terms of test for lack of internal controls, bringing the data in, applying the control criteria to see if there are any exceptions that generate from it, trying to see if people are overriding that process. So we could actually review that information, identifying contributing factors to why fraud is important and preventing fraud. In the report to the nation surveys, there were several common areas of, where the control weaknesses have been seen. Lack of controls, which was 35%, lack of controls jumped to 45% in smaller business, and 19% of cases were overrode existing controls to accommodate for the fraudsters' needs and see how they could bring that into the schema of things. And where we actually really noticed, and this is actually through experience of providing consulting services as well as implementation for our clients, we've actually seen them in various different ways. So number one in the US, the total number of fraud represented in that case study was almost $18 billion. So imagine how much went unreported, obviously. But we've seen a huge misappropriation of funds in billing duplications, expense reimbursement fraud, payroll fraud, and you can see this is actually specifically taking a look at the U.S., but you could see number of reported cases in billing fraud where employees create a shell company, small to mid-sized companies, where they put themselves as the payee and as a vendor and issuing payments. So the type of analytics you could perform is bring in your employee master database and then bring in your vendor master database and then look for any matches in addresses or matches in a specific area code of zip code or postal code. When we look at expense reimbursement, are employees billing you, showing you that, hey, I got charged by the hotel, which only took a deposit, but it looked like it was a full payment of $1,000 made, and then the next month charged you again $1,500 for the actual expense incurred. So we can look at that. Looking at payroll, employees claiming excessive overtime based on specific criteria. Individuals creating ghost employees within the payroll system and issuing payment to that ghost employee, which is potentially another employee within the company itself. And we'll take a look at some of those case scenarios within the live presentation.